Hello, and welcome to Variegated Vocalizations, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything. I'm your host here, okay?
And I'm Leon Lay Fahrenheit.
And I'm Fang.
So today we're going to be talking about Bokuben because the manga is about to end. I believe this is probably going to be a two-part special now to discuss our thoughts going into the end game and our thoughts for the end game once it occurs, and probably me screaming bloody freaking murder when my girl doesn't get picked.
I feel like at this point, like when you go, I feel like they should just pull like the normal way they used to do it back in the day, where they just make you like text people like who you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we did back in Asia, like with our dramas. Like, if you want this girl to be with this guy, text 1-800. This guy is not who you think it is, or something like that.
Wait, Leon, do you know who's the top in the rankings? The
Right
character
now?
polls? She's always been like at the top.
Ooh, Rizu.
Oh.
No, out of all the girls, I think Rizu is. I think she's fifth for the main girls, actually.
Oh no, you guys already know who's my favorite.
All right, Leon, channel your inner Persona 5.
What's that gonna do? I'm gonna end up putting a gun in my head.
It is Kirisu, and let's talk about why Kirisu. Actually, we can just start talking about Kirisu.
I forgot her name. Face.
Mafuyu Kirisu.
The teacher, Sensei.
Oh yeah, that's also my second pick, though.
Oh well, we're gonna have some. Oh well, this is gonna be a discussion.
Okay, first of all,
go on.
Okay, I'll say that for another time. That's for the Uncuffed podcast. That's regarding my life. I'll share that next time.
Okay. Well, if you want to hear more, tune into the Uncuffed podcast on
Totally Some Guy, where I do other things like gaming and review. Well, not really reviews, just unscripted talks and babbles.
Because we are shameless in our promotion. But yeah, Kirisu. I guess we're just going to discuss. Well, long story short, Bokuben is actually. Fang, can you take it away? What is Bokuben?
It's a slice of life comedy romance.
Please be more descriptive. Someone might not know what Bokuben is.
Serialized in Shonen Jump. It's the main character. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank right now. Nariyuki. He is tasked with tutoring these two geniuses, Ogata Rizu and Fumino.
I hate my life.
And they're both respective geniuses. Fumino is good at language, Japanese language, and Rizu is good with
math.
Yeah, math. And but they don't want to be in those
categories.
Yeah. So he has to teach them the field that they're not good in. And that kind of starts off the initial premise of the whole manga.
And along the way, and then the next, the third chapter, the third girl of the trio, Takimoto Uraka, she's a swimming genius, but she needs to learn how to study, she needs to learn English.
Because she's also going. Well, we're supposed to say we're allowed to spoil it, since
we can spoil anything.
All right, so she's going overseas. Her her name. What was her name again?
Uraka.
Yeah, Uraka.
Uraka. Really?
No,
I've been calling her Kanbei the whole time.
In any case, well, that's not until later. But the point is, studying with these three geniuses who are great at something, but are completely worthless in other areas, despite that being their goals.
Hence the name. We never learn the title.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right, yep.
Oh, and then the person
actually red-headed.
Fumino's the one who's left-handed.
No, red-headed.
Yes. Well, yes, in the anime, the anime went with interesting color choices. I'm used to it now, but I was like, okay at first.
Black.
Yeah, in the manga. At least black and white on black and white. It looks.
Oh yeah, I mean, she had like from what like I read a lot of Ipo, and then like have varied skin tones too, and you can tell, right, because they're different races. I thought like Uraka had like straight up Thailand like tan.
I think in the winter chapters she does her skin.
Yeah,
does
she
get,
lighten ups, but
yeah.
but that's expected, given the skin pigmentations there in winter being lighter in sun and stuff. Sorry, that's an off tangent there.
No,
Off
that's
to a side.
perfectly fine. It's fine. So I guess we could just. Well, I guess we were starting with Kirisu. Because because at first she is kind of the main antagonist. Because her thoughts are, hey, you guys, you should. Actually, background. So she was their tutor before Naruki Yuya, the main character, and she's like, hey, you guys are geniuses. Don't waste your talents in in areas that you're not good at. And that was basically everyone, but the two main girls were like, oh no, we want to study what we want to study for various reasons. We can discuss those when we discuss the girls, but the point is, Kirisu, she was like, hey, you guys don't do this, and she's kind of like a teacher that's like very strict, very stern. Everyone's afraid of her. That she's perfect in every way, but she's secretly not perfect. She's a slob at home, things like that. Former figure skater, which was actually what informed her whole life philosophy. Long story short, she was figure skating, couldn't go as far as she wanted, and she's like, "Well, we need to cultivate talent where it is." So, like, we get her backstory and everything. But in
That one
terms of,
chapter. Oh, I'm sorry.
oh no, go on.
Oh, that one chapter of her being like misinterpreting everything when she read a manga, and then she related to
Oh, the shoujo manga.
yeah, I thought that was adorable in that sense, like in the way like she would romanticize overly something, and in a weird dramatization.
So, what do we think about her possibly being the choice? But like, and before we go on, I mean, as a character, not whether or not we like for Naruyuki Yuya, not whether or not we personally like her, because those are two separate things entirely. And when I discuss this, you'll see why I'm making that distinction.
Right.
Because personally, as the girl the main character ends up with, I am not okay with it in the slightest. Because yes, she is the most popular character according to polls and stuff, but she is still an educator first and foremost. And yes, while he won't be her student much longer, it is still all kinds of skeevy and messed up to go, well, they're not together while he's a student. Especially since yes, she kind of utilized Yuya, like she helped him and he helped her, but that they shouldn't have a relationship. That's my take on it. They just shouldn't. It would be all kinds of wrong. Yes, I know she is the community choice, and as a character, I personally like her character, but I don't like the idea of her ending up with a former student. It's just, ugh, ugh.
I actually raised up my hand, hoping you would see this. Like, oh wait, we're not in front of each other. I know. I was like thinking about like there's like I know how you're feeling like the student relationship with the teacher, but from being another country, right?
Yeah.
It's normalized. Well, not I'm not talking about Japan in particular, but in the Philippines, there's like I knew this one girl that ended up dating a teacher, and it was like publicized and stuff like that. So I thought it was normal, but then again, that was in college. So, and this is high school and literal adult in her mid-20s. So I see what your point is there.
Fang, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think Naruyuki has better chemistry with someone else. He tends to with Sensei, from what I remember, more like I don't know. He just because he's the main character, he just happens to be around when she's all being a klutz or
Yeah.
being clumsy. So
Being herself, basically.
yeah.
Oh, go on.
No, I mean, aside from that and the connection between her and his dad, I think there are definitely he has better chemistry with probably the other girls. So
Mhm.
like literally everyone else. Like if you go through the manga or anime, yes, she is in compromising positions, but literally everyone is in compromising positions. Like this, it's a harem, like thing. So yeah, like yes, she is attractive. Like I would hands down say probably if we're talking about characters who I'm objectively just attracted to the most, I would say she is probably the character I'm attracted to second most. But at the end of the day, she just doesn't have that chemistry, like the romantic chemistry, because the teacher student relationship. They don't have that romantic chemistry just at all.
Mm.
Like she shows up a lot because she is the people's champion, and I can see why. But just because you're the people's champion doesn't make you objectively the best choice to end with the main character. So honestly, I would say that out of all the possibilities, I would say from best to worst, I would say she is 4 out of 5. Like being 5 being the worst and 1 being the best, in my opinion.
4 out of 5. So you're backwards. Oh, okay, I got you.
Well, think of it like the number 1 is the person who I feel would be the best choice.
Hmm.
And this
So
is why,
she's 4, right?
huh? Yeah, she's number 4.
Okay.
Number 5 is going to be for a very particular reason, but we'll get to that when we discuss that girl.
If it's my girl, me and you're gonna throw hands.
You'll understand exactly why, and this is why I'm saying the distinction between the girls we like the most and who we think he should end up with. We should make that that's an important distinction, because
Gotcha.
while I have biases, I'm talking about from a character and world standpoint of who it makes sense for him to end up with most.
Right.
So, who do we want to discuss next?
Uh.
Screw it, let's rip this band-aid off. Fumino.
Oh.
yeah, I was thinking that too.
Because Fumino, I would say, is the closest we have to a how in a lot of shonen stuff or just anime in general, there's always a main girl. Bokuben being a harem, I would say it's honestly the most balanced harem I have ever seen with how much screen time it gives all the girls. But if we had to go, who is the main girl of this? It is Fumino.
And her arc with her dad was pretty good too. I actually enjoyed that.
Yeah,
I actually like when I got to that chapter, even though my eyes were like they became pulls because I read it. All right, for this audience out there, I actually read it in half a day, all 48 chapters, and I liked it. The most of the ride. I mean, there's some parts that were kind of too tropey for my taste, but I ended up liking it. And with Fumino, and in particular, her arc with her dad and how she wanted to be a math major or something like that, right?
Astronomer. She wants to be an astronomer.
No, she wants to be an astronomer, but her dad wanted her to be more than that or something like that.
Okay, so I can actually go through because unlike so for context, let's talk about her familiarity with the stuff. So Leon, you've just read the manga in a day, right? Half a day?
Yeah, half a day.
So for me, Fang, and your familiarity is?
I've been reading it for like 2 years.
What chapter do you think?
What do you mean, what chapter?
Like, do you have an idea of around what chapter you start reading it?
I guess. Let's see. This started serialization in February. I learned about it around April, but I didn't start really reading it till the summer. I'm not sure where that would have been.
So probably around the 30s.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Or maybe even earlier. For me, I disliked the first 2 chapters when Fang recommended it to me. But I gave it another shot later when it was around, I want to say chapter 1, not chapter 1 something. Probably the mid 70s. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think so.
No, actually, I could actually tell you where I started. It was Probably, yeah. Let's just say the 70s. Screw it. And then I'm rewatching it with anime as it's ongoing, and the anime is at about the festival,
Hmm.
which is going to be an important part of the discussion later.
All right.
Which is also chapter 69.
Nice.
Because the festival is going to be an important thing.
Yeah, it's not as nice as 69. No, but yeah. So with what we're gonna talk about, like Fumino and all that, we just kind of like glossed over.
Yeah, so let's discuss.
So Mike, what do you think about Fumino as your personal take?
I mean, she did appear when it was just her and Rizu. She did seem to be sort of the main heroine type of girl, but then they pushed her on the angle of, oh, she's gonna be the Cupid. And of course, that since this is a manga or anime, which has romance is romance centric, it was kind of obvious it would build up to her as a a candidate, a romance candidate.
She was never not a candidate,
Yeah.
to be
So
fair.
yeah. But and then a little bit later, the main character accidentally kissed Rizu. So but
He accidentally kissed her too.
yeah. So
Her
then
lips
there's that
pressed to be
dynamic.
smacked.
And as a character on herself though, I I I don't really, I guess she's a decent romance option. It's just I guess I kind of liked her father arc too.
Hmm.
So I like
Some
that
of them.
about her character itself, but in terms of chemistry with the
Overall,
main character, yeah,
right?
I'd place her a little lower, but it's probably because I do have a bias for some other two characters, so she's probably third for me.
She Same. She is
Yeah.
dead center for me because like for my thoughts are outside of like she has good arcs and she does have she has memeable moments like God is dead Yuya.
Yeah.
That was a good one. You remember that, right, Leon?
I don't know, all blurred together. I was
Okay,
trying to.
so God is dead is remember when
I know
she
it's Nietzsche. I know she quoted Nietzsche. That's all I remembered.
no I
And
was telling you what the moment was.
oh, okay, you go.
Remember when she was trying on bras at the lingerie shop and she saw him pull off his head and she like of the costume he was wearing, and then she
Oh,
just
right.
looked. She was smiling, and then she immediately goes into despair mode, and it's like, God is dead, Yuya.
Yeah, now I remember.
I will include a GIF of that at this point in the discussion.
Oh, nice.
Editing. How do I do it? But
So, no, I
I
thought you were
was
done
just
with the impression.
gonna say some of my thoughts on her. Yeah, she
Okay,
like I don't know, like she is very vanilla. Like if we're talking about characters as flavors, I would say she is very plain, very vanilla. She's a decent character. I would argue and say she probably has the most character growth of everyone. And her reason for wanting to study astronomy is heartbreaking. And at first I'm gonna say this: I was very down on Rizu and Furuhashi because I'm like, why do they want to study things opposite what they care about, like what they're really good at? And hers is, I want to say it is a very justifiable reason, and it came right at the right point in the story where it's like, where you're not so entrenched in how you feel about the characters that you can't change your mind. Because I personally think Rizu's arc about why she wants to study psychology, like that was really fleshed out, came too late because it was Christmas and it was like less than 10 chapters ago. Where we're at the end game now, so it's like at this point everyone's thoughts about Rizu are set in stone. But Fumino's it came at the right time. It fleshed her out as a character, and I personally like her. Not a ton, but she's third if we're talking about just purely the five.
Right. I
Oh,
don't know. She's on my fifth.
Wow.
oh, interesting.
I like her arc, but I wasn't attached to her as Well, I have a very you guys know what my taste in women is. So
Yeah, and this is part of the reason why I was like, you need to like your distinction between the like. Yes, I also have a bias, and like I feel like like my bias and your bias are both the girl we like the most. But I feel like outside of my bias, there's still reason that I like.
yeah. I mean, but as a character, though, I would say she's probably, if it were just that arc alone, right? If
Mhm.
like 10 chapters ago wasn't Rizu's why she wanted to learn psychology, right? I would put, like ideally, I would put her on number 2,
Mhm.
and then Uraka like number 1 as
Wait,
the one that makes.
we'll get to that later
Oh,
because
okay, okay.
I was actually gonna save Uraka for. Well, we can actually just talk about her.
Segue into it now since we're talking.
Might as well. Fang, you have the least to say about her. Go for
Oh,
it.
really?
I mean,
Or do you have the least? I don't know. I know I have the most.
yeah, you have the most. So, she's very good. Osa Nanajimi, childhood friend. And I mean, I mean she's been the main character the longest. So,
Literally,
yeah,
if we add together the time that the other four have known him, Uraka has known him longer than all four other girls put together.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
and it wasn't just a one way kind of thing. You know, he also helped her out, and uh, they had they had
A
some
moment.
relationship going on before the actual tutoring, or the official tutoring she was being administered to, work with him, that kind. But yeah, I like her in that sense, and especially she's a sporty type, so it's a
You're into
good way
that.
to stand out, and it really I guess blends with her character, especially since she's usually very upbeat and positive.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
Leon?
With me, I have a big stint on the trope of childhood friend lovers or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe because I watch too much like Korean and Japanese drama, it's like it just like it feels so tacked on for me in a sense. But at the same time, it works for how it's going with this narrative, right? Rather than just forcing, oh yeah, this is my random like best friend, that I liked for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with Uraka, I actually liked her as a character as it progressed on, but my bias against like kind of like wanes on that in a sense.
Okay.
And that one confession, since it's all spoilery right now, my favorite part is when they were like saying, "All right, confess how you feel," and then despite Yui already knows from prior events, and then like her confessing felt like, oh, that was a really cherished moment, that they got that moment to get to see how they feel off their chest.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure if I've made it fit. I'm not sure if transparency is super transparent, but she is 100% my favorite character from everything, and I feel like she is just like so. Yes, I'm already yes, I'm very biased because I like her design and everything, but
Mm.
beyond that, I genuinely think that she is the best character for Yuya, especially because of how they started, what they started because from the beginning, she inspired him to become who he is today, uh,
Definitely.
and he inspires her to be who she is today. I would say that of a relationship, despite them knowing yes they've known each other the longest, but
It's the most tangible, right?
yes they have the best chemistry. Like they just have the best chemistry together. It just in my opinion, it just works, especially with uh okay, so like the whole childhood friend thing, but the moments like they've just shared. In my opinion, I feel like they have shared the most genuine moments, and there's no real reason why Like, yeah, and like that's the thing. She has been hiding her feelings like from him to help him because if he knew how she felt, things like their dynamic would change. She's good. Like, his sister approves of her, and her sister and his sister, like, and uh, Yuya's sister Mitsuki, she is the biggest Brocon in the world. So she's a Brocon, and she's like, this girl's okay. Uh,
Mm.
like Uraka has the best skills to complement his skills. It's just like overall, she's just such a good pick for it, mainly because of how they fed into each other's lives, and without her, the story couldn't exist as it does now. I'm not sure if
Right.
we wanted to discuss specifically at the end in like a round robin. So do we want to just specifically discuss at the round robin at the end why, how we think things are going, or do we want to or can I just go for it now?
I mean,
Yeah.
this is your host, Mouse.
All right, so I'm just gonna go into it. Of the last chapters, outside of my bias and everything, it is very like I can see it is very leaning heavily in her favor, in my opinion. Does anyone else see that? Because right now,
Like the current chapter, like a lot of like, I mean, for me, for the panel wise, right, it has a very dynamic way of showing most of her POV compared to the rest. So, in that sense, it feels like it's very, the bias. Well, it's leaning towards her and stuff, in the way it's biased as, or like how the whole chapter was biased on her.
yeah. Fang, what about you?
Yeah, I think yeah, definitely recently she got some of those chapters and that focus in on her. So
Right.
I definitely agree in that sense.
Yeah, because like the Valentine's Day was told from her perspective, and from her perspective, like you read through that chapter, and well, you read through those two chapters because it's a set of two. Sometimes they do multi-part chapters. Like this last one is also a multi-part chapter, but like Valentine's Day, she's like, "Hey, for the last 6 years, I haven't been able to, deliver my feelings, yada yada yada." And so she's helping the other two. Also, my biggest problem with Fumino, is the fact that she's just like, "Oh, I love him so much now." When if she would have acknowledged her feelings for Yuya a long time ago, it would have been able to build towards that direction. Where she's just been playing, Cupid with two of her friends, and yes, of course, we all knew she liked him, but I wish she would have acknowledged that. But like even in the Valentine's chapter, after her confession, she's still playing like coy about it. Versus
Mm.
Rizu and Uraka are both like, "Hey, I like this guy. Let you know." Like they're hiding their feelings, but they're openly hiding their feelings, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Can we talk about Rizu now?
No.
Oh,
We're not talking about Rizu yet.
my sweet
But
croissant.
But because basically what I was getting at is from her perspective of like every single year she didn't get the courage to give him the chocolate, and she always cut it up into different like squares. It's like, "Oh, I can play this off as its convenience store chocolate." And guess what his favorite flavor of chocolate is? Her convenience store chocolate.
Indian curry flavored. Not.
So
um,
so I feel like between like the last few chapters and like every character has had the like in the recent episode, like not recent episodes, but in the recent chapters, like in the last 10, everyone has had like a wrap up, let me wrap this up chapter. Hers was open. Fumino's ended with her confessing. Asumi's was more of a relationship being the relationship, which is hilarious and great. Uh, Rizu and Kirisu, they basically shared one. And when he and like during the test when he was when he basically collapsed in the snow. Guess who came to his rescue and aid?
Jesus.
No, best girl. And so yeah, Uraka is best girl. She has the most reason to win, and I am going to be hurt if she doesn't. because she is personally my favorite, and I think she works the best with him. I'm off my soapbox now. We can talk about someone else.
Can we talk about Rizu now?
We can talk about Rizu. You
All right,
want
she's
to
my
talk
best
about?
girl. I love her. I just straight up love her. She's my my all-time fave. If she ever noticed me, please, senpai, notice me.
But here's the thing. That's your bias. What do you think about her with Yuga?
I mean, I like how she opened up more and more to her. You know,
Mhm.
in the sense that I love those kind of characters that break out of their shell, and then more of like when she got that whole makeup. Remember where she had long hair and extensions, and Yuya didn't notice at all, and she
Yep.
was able to open up in a way like. God, this is actually I love this kind. I know it's been done before in other series, but the way she did it was a very like the most very subtle way of saying, hey, you like she's able to say everything and portray herself in a way that she couldn't have it before under the disguise. And
You
in the
noticed
chapter with
eventually.
her grand, well, yeah, but you know what I mean though, right?
Yeah.
And then like also with the point where Rizu ended up like with the whole grandmother thing that broke me because I didn't have that kind of relationship with my father, right? And
Right.
well, not at the point where it's happy, it's actually wholesome at the end, but that whole thing broke me in a way, like it touched me, not in the Catholic level, but
Yeah. Dude.
no, I mean like no, come on.
These are
But,
fictional characters. We know.
well, Jesus is fictional.
We're not going into a discussion about religion. Stop.
But anyway, the way with it was like very like it touched me in a way like it reflected on me personally is what I'm trying to get at, and she was able to broke her shell, and that one kiss like ended up being more of a turn of events that opens up her more as a character, being not as robotic, because I don't also like that stoic kind of way too, unless it's Jotaro, but that's another thing for entirely. But yeah, Rizu is my favorite character, and I like short hair and glasses. Yeah.
So, how do you
But
think
she's
about
number
her?
5.
What? Say that again.
She's rate number 5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. About her how she her relationship
Well,
with the
it's
main
kind of
character.
sporadic now. Well, yeah, that's what I think about that. Despite I love her, right?
Hmm.
At the same time, it's a bit too sporadic in a sense that it's kind of and that's where I felt like that part was forced. That she ended up, having a relationship in a way. Well, not a relationship, but those feelings developed in the way. It can work in any other characters, but for Yuya, it just felt, left field.
Yep. Well, because I have things to say about Rizu personally, but yeah, I want you to go first.
Um, well, when the main cast was smaller, just Fumino, Rizu, and Uruka. I think Rizu had more of a balance in terms of the the spotlight between all three. But
Hmm.
as the series went on, she definitely got a little, just maybe a little bit less, and it did feel that whenever it was her arcs, it I guess it didn't feel like it connected that well,
It
or
wasn't natural.
yeah, as the other ones.
Right, that's what I
So
mean. Like earlier when I said like it felt very sporadic when it was her arcs, or when it or something like that. I don't know. I'm sorry, Mike, that I cut you off.
no, that's fine. But I I did like Sekijo, her
We'll
her
discuss her later
oh,
because
okay.
actually we can just launch into it because yeah. So actually, let's not. Do you have any other thoughts on Rizu specifically?
As a
Um
character wise, design.
I mean I like her design.
Same.
It's I like that one chapter when her dad accidentally cuts her hair, but uh
Oh, that was
she
adorable.
yeah,
She uses it like a
so
hair clip.
yeah, and the udon delivery stuff. I mean her design in that kind of sense and
It's
is
very cute.
yeah, yeah. But in terms of character and how she relates to the main character, I'm a bit iffy on. So
Mm.
Yeah, like personally, you got overall, she is personally my least favorite. like I like her design and everything, but as you guys have said, like she doesn't really get much time to shine. And I was like I already don't like her like in her reasoning for everything because like Fumino's is all right, but like the whole we don't learn about her grandmother until right
Yeah,
before the
that's way too like that's what I mean too. Like it was just so sporadic, and then like her like that came out of left field too when I mentioned right,
Yeah.
and I would have liked it if it was like more expanded on, but it just felt very rushed at that end.
Yeah, especially since you read it all in one night. So imagine being me
Not
and
even
Fang
night.
discussing this for like months, and like it's just like it's like I just don't want and like another reason why she shouldn't end up with Yuga is Sekijo, a girl that loves her so very much, and they like everyone in the series has like tag-alongs and like they're plus ones. Uh, However, Rizu's is the only one who I'm going to say. Well, Yuga's also matters, but I would say that hers actually transcends plus one and is actually a main character in her own right.
Mm. Yeah, that's why I felt like she was another. She could have been off as her own separate character in a different series. Honestly.
So, and I personally think that their dynamic of hey, she wants to do the best for. Basically, I think Rizu is dead last because she has Sekijo, and those two those two would make a much better couple. So, because think of it like this: everyone else is a hey, you like they don't end up with Yuya. They don't necessarily have a person to just go to immediately. Rizu does. Like Rizu just 100% does.
Yep.
And I personally think she should end up with her. That's just my personal opinion because of how much Sekijo loves her. Like so much. More than Yuga, like by a wide margin.
Like gay?
Yep.
She 100% is.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Like I guess it's like
I think I dote over
Yeah.
like you guys, right? Like I dote over Mike, I dote over I always I thought that in a way like brotherly like compassion for unblood.
Yeah.
That's what I always felt between the relationship dynamic.
I think it's interesting because because you binged it in like one day,
Right.
but we had time to like
marinate.
Those thoughts to like gestate over like a year or months.
yeah,
So,
and like every chapter it was a every time they showed up it was a you get what I mean?
Yeah, right. So I guess like in the way that you marinated, it's a lot more different than how I digested it, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
Because I always thought it like I'm looking at like face value, basically, right?
Mhm.
And then you guys had more of a subtext on how you feel and how it flowed for you guys, right? And you had longer times to discuss it, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sure you noticed that she constantly gets nosebleeds just thinking about her, things like that.
I thought she was, it was hot. It's Japan. I mean, I got
I
nosebleeds
think she's
too.
the only character who actually gets nosebleeds in this manga.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, if you put it that way, yeah, I mean, unless you're counting their friends, like Yuya's guy friends that do get nosebleeds over, like if Yuya actually kissed them. When they did that whole when they had a photo of them coming at the spa or hotel.
Oh yeah, all those every the girl except for Asumi is super popular. Like is super popular within the school. Asumi's not, but she also doesn't go to the school. She is very She is the top maid at her maid cafe. But
Definitely.
But all the girls are very popular in their own right.
Mm. So. Did you ever want to punch that one guy that was talking like Funanashi, like what I mean, Fumino, like in the beginning chapters where it's like, hey, you want to date Fumino and stuff like that?
Oh,
well,
like,
she has her own cult, so.
Well, you know what I mean, though, right? Where like that's basically a fuckboy, right?
My thoughts are she has a cult. She is clearly the most popular girl in their school. Whatever.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at face value. I was just like, man, this guy's a prick. When they, like, oh, you know what I'm talking about, right, Mike? Where this, like,
Yep.
I just want to expand on that, but with Sekijo, I just
Leon, Bang, are you still here?
Yeah. I was just staying silent, so maybe it would have been easier to edit out.
It's fine.
I don't know.
Well, Leon's gone for now, but I guess long story short with Sekijo is you get what I mean. Like she is just 100% into Rizu romantically.
Yeah, in terms of minor characters, I think she probably
sorry.
appears the most. Like
Mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
no,
It's
it's fine. So I think she does have a place, at least in terms of with the cast. So
But yeah. Ooh, I get to edit out of I get to edit out of phone calls, but that's gonna be fun.
Oh, did I cut out somewhere? Did I
You
cut
did
out?
cut out,
Oh,
but
you had to edit. I'm
I'm
sorry, you
gonna
had to
have
edit
to
that
edit
out.
this part heavily anyway.
Who?
But
Who?
it's fine.
Wait,
Just
you're
give me
reading
a
it?
moment.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. What was I again? With Sekijo?
I was just
Oh, the guy who you want to punch?
Oh, right. I want to punch that dude. I don't know. It's like very like dick move for like how they like first is like this and then he's super Two Face on the other end.
yeah.
Like I hate those kind of dudes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess, does anyone else have anything else to say about Sekijo? I personally think that like if she didn't exist, I would have different thoughts on Rizu and her whole dynamic with Yuga, but like 100%, she is always there when it matters most for Rizu, and
Right.
and I feel like she should end up like and
No.
it's not just I'm projecting my straight masculine feelings as no. I feel like those two characters work well together and cover each other's
Right.
weaknesses.
Like you're not like putting like her head face down and then no. I mean like I'm joking about that. You know who I think Rizu should actually end up with?
Who?
Her dad. Nah.
Moving on.
No.
So,
But they're dynamic. But I thought it was a sweet, overprotective dad. I mean, that's the scene overplayed over and over. But I love how how Rizu had so much of a power over him, like making him like a meter away. He's like, okay, you can't be near me like 30 meters or something like that. I thought it was cute because I love my niece so much. So like because she lives with me. So yeah.
yeah, I get what you're saying. So, before we go into Asumi, let's talk about Mizuki,
Oh, the Emoto.
the Emoto. Leon, do you have any thoughts on her in particular?
I hate emotos.
Really?
Oh,
I actually fucking hate emoto characters.
wow.
So,
if I see them, they're getting decked in the face. My sister getting decked in the face. But no, I don't feel that way. I don't know. I thought she was all right.
I basically have my thought process towards Emoto characters is if it's are they a character enough on their own that if their older sibling didn't exist, would they still be a good character? And like that's how I judge.
That's why I don't like emoto characters too. They just feel like they're just there as a sake of them, as a
Cliche.
yeah, not only a cliche, but a way they present them as themselves as not even their own thing. You can still be a cliche and have your own personality. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Sorry.
Yeah, but my thoughts on her is going by that litmus test, she actually passes. Like, yes, she is madly in love with her brother, but beyond that, she does have enough of a personality of her own, and she serves a purpose within the story. And it's the hey, this is Yuga's family dynamic, and how much they all rely on each other.
Right.
Like she's not just a brocon to be a brocon. She is a brocon because of how much her brother takes care of everyone, and she just loves that so much.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I don't have that kind of sibling dynamic with my brothers or sisters, and I'm like 11 in the family.
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
We don't. No one has anime family dynamics, thankfully.
Well, I mean, I don't have 11 actually. I have like 25 siblings, but they're all half because of well, I'm not really well, I'm not I don't really have a dad and stuff, but I know of what they did as men, and then with the dynamic with Yu Yu's sibling is a lot more closer because in the way that I can feel for him, like his dad's gone, and the fact that he has to take care of them,
Yeah.
it's very like captivating in the sense that I can understand why Rizu would love her her bro that way.
Mizuki. Rizu is a different character.
Sorry, I have Rizu in the mind, and I'm staring at the gift that I just sent with the chocolate thing that we mentioned. But I'm sorry, but yeah, with her sister, her Brocon, his Brocon.
But yeah, I'm going to say that I if Hyuga ends up going, hey, I don't want to, I don't want to end up with any of these people, and goes home and becomes a family man, I'd be perfectly fine with that because of their dynamic. It's not going to happen, but I like her. She's good. She is a Hiroke approved Emoto.
Yeah, sadly, she doesn't really get that much,
Screen.
spotlight. So,
Yeah. But her chapter was one of the best chapters in the series.
yeah,
When she runs away and how he just finds her because it's like I always know where to find you. That was touching.
Yeah, I like that. If it were up to me, though, if I written that, I would have found her and then beat her ass in public. Like, where the fuck were you been? No, like where the fuck you been? Like, put on these boxing gloves. We're going to the ring. No.
Oh.
No, I would never do that. That's very touching. I'm just saying for my family dynamic, right? If I went off saying I ran away, my big brother would kick my ass.
Right.
Where the fuck have you been, little? You know what I mean?
Language.
I'm sorry. I mean,
I'm not censoring anything.
Oh.
And no one's gonna listen to this anyway. And if anyone is,
that's what I thought. But then my boss ended up listening to my podcast.
Oof.
Wow.
But I mean, I'm retired, but
If anyone's actually listening to this, message us on Twitter and say I listened.
You're gonna put our ads right?
Huh?
You're gonna put our ads right?
Yeah, of course. Always in the description.
Yep.
But yeah,
link, like and subscribe.
But if you're here, just go I listened, and I will. I don't know. I'll go. Wow. Okay.
All right. Where were we after her, like the sister?
It's the last character who actually matters is Asumi. Dang.
Oh yeah, best girl.
For you personally?
Yeah.
Explain, boy.
Well, I mean, she's already in a relationship with the main character. Just makes sense.
Okay. All right. I see what you mean by that. All right. Her not boyfriend, but isn't, but is will be, or something like that.
Yes. Exactly.
I find her
You have more to say about her, Fang. I know you do.
Don't you, Mike?
I mean, she's where do I begin? She's I think in terms of all the characters, I mean, the main character kind of witnessed her and was there for her breakdown arc, and when she kind of had to realize or face the truth of whether or not she could really take her dad's business, clinic, and also the fact that she had to understand her position at that moment and whether or not she could really do it or not, and Naruyuki was there. In terms of a character, she's
typical tsundere.
No.
Yeah, I know. Oh no, not
She's
like
not
that.
tsundere at all.
What would you classify her as? There was moments where it's there.
I'll let Fang finish, but I certainly have thoughts on her myself.
Okay, sorry, Mike.
No, I don't know what to classify her. She just seems to be I mean, they made her a short senpai. So, but
Oh.
I guess what clicked with me most was when Naruyuki had to buy those like lewd magazines for his friends, and
Oh.
she was there, and she's like, oh my," and she's just kind of open with him with that kind of stuff, even though it's just kind of teasing.
Yeah,
So
basically
she
called
kind
her
of
a pervert ever since then.
yeah, so she seems kind of playful in that way, and I kind of like that.
Oh, you like the
With her,
mischievous kind of characters?
yeah, but she's also like, because despite her being short, I generally like her taking a stance that, oh, she's a senpai, so she should be the one leading, quote, the
Okay.
relationship. And
I know what kind of girls you like now. You fuck.
but but obviously, because the main character exists, she kind of gets caught up into like, oh, he's manly in this, or he's taking responsibility, or he's
Mm.
he's kind of there for me, that kind of thing. So
Well,
I
he's
kind
there
of,
for literally everyone.
well, yeah. So um,
She's a
Yeah.
good character,
Do
honestly.
you have any particular thoughts?
On her?
Mm-hmm.
I always I liked her as a more of like a side chick, not like in a bad way. You know what I mean, though, right?
Yeah.
Like with the arc with her with with the whole clinic stuff, like that I can relate to that as a pharmacist, right? And
Yeah.
and the way she's like she carries herself as like, even though she is short, like what Mike mentioned, she has a very she has a very strong presence as a character, and I actually like that in the sense that that she's in her own person first, rather than Gurgitate as like the short lolicon type character, if you know what I mean right there. But
Even then, like, funny enough, I wouldn't even consider her to be like, yeah, I can see
oh,
why
not a
she would be
lolicon, but
appealing. Like, because
but
that's totally Mizuki.
and like,
Well, actually, to be honest, like Mizuki is taller than both of them, but she's the youngest. Like
right.
Rizu and Asumi are both very short, but like Rizu is short but chesty, and Asumi is short and flat. But
mm,
I wouldn't even consider her to be a lolly character. Like I can see
Mm.
why people would think it, but she isn't.
I also liked when like in the beginning when they introduced her, and I think it was raining, and all the main cast had to go to her house. She's like, "Oh, which one are you shagging up with?" She
Oh
was
yeah,
like joking about
it's
that kind
very
of thing.
fun. Yeah, I
So
like that.
I think,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see her winning, but I also don't see her like being like so surprised if she doesn't end up with him. She kind of she would kind of like,
She'd be okay
she'd
with
be
it.
okay on her, yeah, she'd be okay on her own, or whoever main character decides,
Well,
Yuya.
she's the pick. Like she's a great pixie maid.
Yep.
Of course, she'll be fine. Personally, like she is my second favorite. I'm just going to be like blunt about that.
Mm.
Because of her mischievous personality, and I would say that she has the biggest personality, and of everyone, she is the most consistently well written character, like hands down. Like everyone else has their character flaws, and they are characters who mess up a lot of, oh, we're going back and forth with how we're going to be portrayed. No, Asumi has never had a moment where she's been out of character. She has been consistent 100% of the time. And, like, of everyone, best written, hands down. Like, remember the time that she loves this thing called Dr. Fish.
Yeah.
You guys remember the time that, despite her being in love with the fish and everything, she was willing to give up her super rare prize to a kid that she didn't even know, just so that they could be happy.
Yep. Yeah, very touching.
So overall, she's just a really solid, very good character. Just
Yeah, it's just
consistently well written.
it's
Right,
just
right, right.
in terms of spotlight, or um the other characters seem to have more of a focus than her, sadly.
Yeah, like
So
she is by far the heroine who is like she is the heroine introduced the latest, and she has the least time. But the time that we do spend with her is always well spent because she's a great supporting character. Because some characters are good as leads but not support, but she's a great supporting character and she's great on her own. It's just
Mm.
like if Uraka didn't exist, she would by far be my favorite. But Uraka does exist, and I think that she's a slightly better character.
Right.
Like, those two are like between those two. If Yuga ends up with either of them, I will be really happy. If he ends up with Fumino, I would be like, fine, whatever. Rizu, I don't want him to end up with because she has her own character. Look, speaking of which, we didn't talk about everyone's plus ones. Like Fumino has her basically society of 30 different girls who are in love with her. Who's like, oh, she's the great princess. We need to protect her. Yada yada yada. Rizu has Sekicho, which we talked on. Kirisu has her sister, who we've glossed over, but she's not so important that it's necessary to bring up the distinction. Asumi has the maids from her cafe, and Uraka has the swim team.
Right.
Yuga has his sister and his two friends, who we only see like 5-6 times total.
Oh yeah.
12.
Was it
12?
Yeah, 12 times
Wakabayashi?
total.
I think that was his name or whatever. Such a
Gimp was Gimp. No, I'm joking.
Oh.
But
yeah, you actually don't actually get a personality from them. They're just there as, like, oh yeah, you lucky son of a bitch kind of tag.
well, no, his one friend really likes cake and always goes to the same place every Friday.
And yeah, I think the other one is he's dating one other girl, right? But they
Yes.
only they only show that in like one chapter or two.
So yeah, so basically, like, I don't know where. Basically, what I was getting at is Rizu's plus one is big enough that Rizu should just, spend the rest of her life with her.
Gotcha.
So that's why she's just like dead last. Kirisu, because she's a teacher. Fumino because she was too late in confessing, and the other two are like just, very solid choices in my opinion.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, Asumi's ahead because
That's my
she's already dating him.
But what are your final thoughts on like all five?
Can we bring up that we can just segue this after with the poll results, right?
Yes, we can talk about the poll results.
So we'll just bring back. Well, we'll get this out of the way. How we feel about the 5, right?
Yeah.
Well, you guys I already mentioned that Rizu's my favorite, but that's out of character design, and despite how sporadic it was, her arc with her whole grandmother thing, and yeah, I like to do my top to bottom is Rizu, Uraka. Third would be Mafayu.
Really? Over Asumi?
Oh wait, no. Yeah. Asumi's on third. Just because I have a affiliation with medical, you know what I mean?
Right.
So and then you have Mafayu, then fuck you, Fumino. I fucking hate you. No, I'm joking.
Well, I'm not sure. Well, my top to bottom was Uraka, Asumi, Fumino, Kirisu, Rizu. In that
what
order.
the hell, Mike? I'm sorry.
Well, remember, Rizu should end up with someone else.
Right.
This is a distinction between the characters I like the most and who I feel like the main character should end with.
Right.
So you feel he should end up with Rizu, despite Rizu having someone perfectly acceptable and no one else having that.
I mean, I said me. Who else is out there? Oh, but
no, we're talking about the main character.
The main character. I feel like he should, like Yuya, should totally, stay with the Uraka because the way it just ends. Well, the way it's ending up to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just feels like it's all on Uraka's story now, and she has way more arcs in a way, and despite how it feels like perfectly when I read it, right, it just feels like there's more of an impact on Uraka's character more than everyone else's.
Yeah, because if we're talking from a purely character design standpoint, it's Uraka, Kirisu / Rizu, because I like both of them, and then like I like Fumino more than Asumi, but just from a pure character design standpoint.
Right. Like for me, it's like that's why I'm getting at. Like I like Rizu as a pure character design, and then like character like later on. But I feel like she could have been her own character in her own manga too.
Mhm.
But it just feels like I said earlier. It's just so sporadic how she ended up being the character that she is today.
Yeah. Okay, and then Fang, what are your thoughts?
I think my rankings are pretty much like yours, except I just switched Takemoto Uruka with
Assuming.
Asumi.
So from top, so tell us top to bottom, Fang.
Asumi, Uruka, Fumino, and Kirisu Sensei, and then last is Rizu.
I'm gonna fucking murder you.
Remember, this is who Yuga's gonna end up with. Not that's an important distinction.
I'm still gonna poop in your food, Mike. Not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, like basically, I'm going to ride because like genuinely, my thoughts are if it's like the poll results are if I have this correct, it is Kirisu is by far the favorite with over 1,000 more than second place. I think second place was Fumino, followed by Uraka, then Asumi, then Rizu. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Wait, what poll's that? Because I looked at the second poll.
Wasn't that the most recent one? The results in order.
Mafa used the first, right?
Yeah, Malfayu.
And they're all wearing Christmas too, right? Christmas attire.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So my thoughts are 100%. If he ends up with her, she is the worst person from a character perspective. Everyone loves her, but like genuinely,
the voting is crazy though. Like 105 something. You know what I mean? Like the overwhelming votes for Mafa is like outstandingly. Yeah, like it gimped everybody in comparison.
Well, no, it's not surprising. She's freaking attractive. Like she's hot. I have no problem saying it. Like,
oh yeah, well, I don't know. For me, I didn't like her that way. Does that make me weird? Well, because it made me have like character bias with like with short-haired women, right? But well, yeah, there's that. I just found her. I don't know. I like the princess cut hair, and I mean the business attire kind of stuff. I can dig at times, like with Fumika. Oh wait, never mind. I'm not bringing Grab Your Idol here, but you know what I mean, right? By design standpoint, I didn't feel it and plus, this is my first time like not like reading, but I don't have like much of attachment to her. Seeing how I only read it like in a couple hours.
Right. Once again, I don't have attachment to her. It's just I know like she's number one because people are horny. It's really that simple.
Right. I mean, it's like the same with Kawakami Sensei.
Hey, to be fair, everyone else in Persona 5 not doesn't do it for me.
Really? Well, we'll say that for another time. We'll just say that after the podcast. But you know what I mean, though, right?
Yeah.
But like Sensei, they love that Sensei thing, that the forbidden fruit. Other than begging your sister.
Okay, but does anyone else have anything else to say about Bokuben?
I liked it as a first time like reader. I enjoyed it. Like I'm glad I'm able to have this speech with talk with you guys.
Yeah.
And it's like it's fun to have a little assignment now and then, even though I kind of like overdid it. I'm like the student that went like I'm gonna do my homework today. All the future homeworks.
Yeah.
Instead of unlike Dio's here. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Your turn.
Well, I mean, Mitsuki was ranked 6th, so I mean, aside from that, it's been an interesting ride, especially since I read this mangaka's one of his previous manga, Fukushiki Philia. Very different, so definitely not like this, but I enjoy this, especially as a successor to Nisekoi. Definitely there, even though the balance between all the main heroines are not, obviously you I don't think it's easy or feasible, especially with publishers, to give each girl a spotlight. They probably look at the character rankings, and also they have their own biases. So but I think it was a lot more balanced than Nisekoi, and probably Nisekoi introduced some girls for the sake of like the editor, or I don't know, just to keep it running longer.
Right.
So I think when they stopped with, I guess, Asumi, it was good, pretty good, and then they just and for Bokuben, I think it was good that they just kept it at that amount of heroin.
Because awesome. Because the nice thing is, like everyone has been integrated decently in the story, and it still feels like It really does feel like anyone's game. Like yes, like it has been Uraka focused the last few chapters, but I guess it's like this. I wouldn't be shocking if any of the 5 win. I'll be upset if some of them win, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's not one of the things where it feels like, oh, this felt like complete BS. It feels like, no, I can feasibly see everyone, winning. For better or worse.
I still feel like they should have just done the phone number, like who to win, but then that would
No.
already automatically went to Mafayu. I just realized, like, oh, never mind. That would go straight to Mafayu. Or they could do, alternate endings, like, their own epilogue for each character, like, if they end up, like, but that's unfeasible.
No, I actually discussed that thing, and I'm like, I really think each of them should have their own chapter, like a what if.
Yeah. That's I like those kind of like notions. There's one manga that did that, but I forgot what its name, but where like it's also a horror manga, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like they gave a like what if scenario if he ended up this or that. Well, actually, it was notes. Never mind. It was a bunch of notes like what would happen if they ended up with this character, basically.
Yeah, but I would totally welcome that.
Right.
But yeah. Let's see.
But headcanon will always be.
What were my final thoughts? My final thoughts were that, yeah, I just liked it at first. I really feel like Fumino and Risu don't come off as likable at the very beginning, but as soon as Uraka comes and balances the dynamic, like in chapter 3, I feel like it becomes infinitely more enjoyable because I guess it's the way they present them at first. It's, hey, we want to do this. Why? Because we want to do this. Versus later, when you hear the why, you actually start to feel for the characters. I'm not sure if front-loading it would have been good, but because the best we got at the very beginning was Rizu playing games alone in the park, and it's just kind of sad and not like this justifies why I see. Like that's actually my thing with why I disliked her at first. It's like, wait, so you just want to do this because you want to be better at games? It was just like you're being unreasonable. But when you get to learn about the characters, they have fun dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I agree.
So basically, if you want to try, well, I'm sure. Like, funny enough, the anime made it so that the first 2 chapters are basically easy to gloss over because you're already in the thick of it within a few minutes. But, yeah. If you're interested in Bokuben, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. No. They mostly when you do animated adaptations, they always condense it in a way, where it's like very digestible in 5 chapters in 1 episode sometimes.
Oh no, they do 2 chapters per episode in the anime.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, 2 to 3 depends on the chapters. Like the first one was like the first 2 episodes were chapters 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4.
Because I was like, I guess I'm comparing to some other things I've watched. Like with Ultraman, they basically condensed 5 in 1 episode, which pissed me off. But neither here or there right now. You know what I mean? Regarding anime.
All right. So final thoughts. We're all men of culture because we all see and recognize Uraka as the best girl that she is. So
you should have been with me.
But I'm sure that we'll do part 2 when we read the last chapter of the manga, which none of us are going to read ahead, so that we can all have our raw first reactions. And you might hear me scream bloody murder, depending on the ending. All right. Well, this is Hiroke signing out. Well, this is guys, sign out, please.
I'm Leon, and follow me on on my YouTube or Twitter. Totally some guy for YouTube, and Neo Leo Fahrenheit on Twitter.
Fang. See you later.
I feel like
Oh, so everyone's Twitters will be in the description, and Leon's YouTube channel is going to be linked to mine. This is Uraka signing out with the first Variegated Vocalizations. See you next time.